this meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Ms. Palmer?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Thanks, Jason. First item on the agenda is a proclamation.
Okay, proclamation. Whereas this is the 20th anniversary of YWCA Week Without Violence campaign, and whereas YWCA is the largest provider of domestic violence services in the country, serving over 2 million women and families each year, and whereas 1 in 4 women will experience some form of domestic violence at some point in their lives, and on average 3 women are murdered each day at the hands of their abusers, and whereas domestic violence overwhelmingly impacts women, irrespective of socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, religious affiliation, and sex, and whereas intimate partner homicides account for nearly half of all women killed each year in the U.S., and of these homicides, more than half are attributed to firearm use, and whereas City of Renton is working to improve the reduction of domestic violence in our region with awareness to the cultural differences in our community. Now therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim October 19th through 23rd, 2015 to be YWCA Week Without Violence in the City of Renton, and encourage everyone in our community to take an active role in supporting all victims so they can lead healthy lives safe from violent and abusive behavior. In witness whereof I've hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 19th day of October 2015, signed Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Taylor.
I move that this proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I don't think anybody's here representing the YWCA, so we'll make sure they get that proclamation. Okay, moving on to administrative report, Mr. Covington.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a couple of items. Our neighborhood program will host their quarterly neighborhood forum this Wednesday, October 21st, from 6 to 7:30 here at City Hall. Our special guest speaker will be Peter Renner, who is our facilities director, along with a representative from the King County Library System, and we'll provide updates on the downtown and Renton Highlands libraries. Refreshments will be provided, so folks who are interested can RSVP tomorrow to Norma McWiller at 430-6595. And we continue to do a number of road improvements. The list remains fairly similar. We're just continuing to work in a number of those areas. In particular, downtown, there'll be some, we just want folks to watch for intermittent lane closures or flaggers. In some cases, we'll be posting for parking restrictions as we do night work, so people just need to watch those signs and pay attention. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. Next is, we don't have anybody signed up for audience comments, so next is the consent agenda. Pardon me, we have 6 items on the agenda for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
seeing none, I move to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Corman, that consent agenda be adopted as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, Mr. Person?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee has 2 reports.
Finance Committee report, approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on October 12, 2015, claim vouchers 342113 through 342494, 4 wire transfers and 1 payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $4,808,838.27, and payroll vouchers including 764 direct deposits and 46 payroll checks totaling $1,620,638.34. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the council concur in the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Taylor, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the last report is regarding an interlocal Cooperative Agreement with King County. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the Interlocal Cooperative Agreement with King County and regional partners to purchase Lidar Data for an amount not to exceed $12,000. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I bet you some people are asking, what is Lidar data? Basically, ever since the Oso landslide, the state and everybody's been very concerned that we take a topographical view of our slide areas and potential slide areas. And it's very expensive to do by yourself. So all the cities in King County and Kitsap County are going together to provide this kind of information. So this will give our Public Works Department a chance to take a look at where potential slides are, and so we could be proactive instead of reactive. And for $12,000 for that kind of survey and information, well worth it. So with that, I move the council concur in the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Taylor, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, Ms. Palmer.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Corman?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Taylor?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pavoni?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
And Ms. Perez?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Before we move on, are you representing the YWCA?
Sure, I am.
Oh, we read the proclamation earlier. We have a proclamation to present to you. Jason, do you have that? And you're welcome to say a few words if you'd like.
Yes, I would. Thank you. Thank you. I apologize for being late. Actually, I was sent to a different city.
Oh, that's
So, within the speed limit, I made it here as quickly as I could. My name is JoJo. I'm the Director of Domestic Violence for the YWCA. I run the programs in South King County as well as in Snohomish County. On behalf of the YWCA of Seattle, King County, and Snohomish County, I want to say thank you, and I commend you guys for really recognizing domestic violence as a huge issue in our community. I do want to tell you guys a story. It's not going to be one of the ones I usually use, where I'm talking about a survivor and the violence that her and the family have faced in the home. I'm actually going to tell you I'm hoping it's going to be a pretty feel-good story. Recently, beginning of the month, what we did was we have a Spanish-speaking support group who are all Spanish-speaking, all from, all Hispanic origin. And there's about 13 women who came to the support group, and it's so full that we have a wait list for that. That's where we have a need. Well, this group decided what they wanted to do was to have something that recognized them as survivors, because they're always seen as victims. So we wanted to show that they were going to be survivors. So what we did is we hooked them up with our YWCA Dress for Success program, where we have a lot of clothes and stuff for women that get them ready for interviews, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this time we decided to use some of the wardrobe for them to have a fashion show. And it was a fashion show that wasn't open to the public, obviously. It was a support group, but it was a fashion show that was provided for their children. So there was about 13 women, and there was about 30 kids, all age range from 3 to 15. And if I could only express to you how I felt when I saw a mother come down the makeshift catwalk we had, and start crying when she saw her kids, because their kids are clapping and they're crying, and they just have never seen their mother in this light. And I think that's another aspect of our jobs that we do, and it's all of the work that we do is really supported by the city of Renton, by the mayor, the council, everything. And so we, from the YWCA, we thank you for the support you've given us throughout the year, and throughout our time here in Renton. We've been here for a long time, and for recognizing this month. So I commend you, and again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, and thank you for
Thank you.
being here tonight, and we really do appreciate all the great work the YWCA does throughout the community, so thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Taylor.
Jojo, kudos to you. That was a very creative way of helping these women who have been violently treated to see themselves for who they really are, beautiful women,
Yeah.
and for their kids to see that too, to restore that self-esteem, that assurance. Wonderful idea. Great thinking out of the box.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, appreciate it.
All right. Again, I apologize for being late.
That's okay, we're glad you didn't get a ticket.
I don't want to see you in that light anyway.
All right, thanks. Okay, moving on to resolutions and ordinances. We have two resolutions and two ordinances for a second and final reading.
Okay, the first resolution is regarding declaring an emergency for a sanitary sewer cleanup. A resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, declaring an emergency for the purposes of repairing a sanitary sewer backup at 926 and 930 Edmonds Avenue Northeast.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the next resolution is regarding an interlocal agreement with WashDOT. A resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an interlocal agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation entitled Transportation Demand Management Implementation Agreement.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Palmer, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The first ordinance for second and final reading is regarding the Walker Street vacation. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, vacating an alley adjoining 555 Southwest Grady Way between Seneca Avenue Southwest and Lind Avenue Southwest. Dale Walker, petitioner.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Palmer, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this ordinance be adopted as read. Requires a roll call.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Ms. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
And the final ordinance is regarding a salary commission. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 151 of Chapter 5, Council of Title I Administrative, adopting a new Chapter 20 entitled Independent Salary Commission of Title II Commissions and Boards, and amending Section 531 of Chapter 3 Salaries of Title V Finance and Business Regulations of the Renton Municipal Code, establishing an independent salary commission.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Ms. Palmer, that this ordinance be adopted as read, and it requires a roll call.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Ms. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it. Thanks, Jason. Moving on to new business, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Committee of the Whole, this coming Monday, October 26th, it's at 6 p.m. It's in the conferencing center. We have one item on the agenda. We have the downtown revitalization / redevelopment update. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Person.
No new business.
Okay, Ms. Palmer.
No new business.
Mr. Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have a Planning and Development Committee meeting to announce for 4:00 p.m. on October 26th, next Monday. It'll be in the council conference room. One item on that agenda, and it's a docket 11 briefing. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Taylor.
Yes, the normally scheduled Utilities Committee for October 26th will be canceled. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Public Safety Committee will be meeting on October 26th at 2 p.m. in the council conference room, and we'll be discussing police department staffing. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Perez?
Yeah, I move that updates for the neighborhood picnics and Renton River Days be referred into Committee of the Whole.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Perez, seconded by Mr. Prince, that the neighborhood picnics and Renton River Days topic be referred to committee of the whole.
Yeah? And,
Excuse me, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
and the Community Service Committee will be taking place on October 26th, Monday, October 26th, at the council conference room at 5 o'clock. And we'll be talking about Parks Commission appointment and update on the parks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, moving on to audience comments, is there anybody that'd like to address the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
move we adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Prince, so we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We're adjourned.